authority vested in them by the legislature, vested in them by the Dáil and indeed the Seanad. Derek Nash, good afternoon.
How are you doing, Joe?
How are you doing?
Well, our business at the moment is just barely hanging on, and it's been doing so for the last year and a half, just like an awful lot of businesses, no matter what.
How many people did you employ?
At the peak, it was 24 people. 4 of them being my own family. My brother was a 50% partner with myself. My wife worked for me full time, and my younger brother worked for me full time, as well as a bunch of apprentices and electricians as well.
And how many of them are still working for you?
Oh, none, including my brother and my wife are not working. It's just me and my brother now. We now work 60 hours a week. We travel wherever we have to travel without charging, just to make a wage. And we've mortgages to pay. My younger brother would work for nothing. I don't know how many times he's asked me, look, just hide me away in the back of the van. Out of boredom, not for money, just pure and utter boredom.
And you've worked out how much your employees and yourself paid in tax in the last few years?
4.6 million I've paid over in taxes, VAT, PRSI, PAYE, pensions. I'm totally compliant with everything. I've done everything right. What really bugs me about this country at the moment is that the people who do everything right get nothing for it. They get nothing for it. The people who make all the mistakes get bailed out, helped. We're not looking for bailouts here. We're just looking for a chance to be able to survive. And survival is the key word here. See, it's all about survival. And when you get people down to the level that they have to survive, people will do anything to survive. You can't put your foot down on top of these people when all they're doing is trying to survive, and there's no help coming from anywhere else. Then what else are you supposed to do? Somebody needs to answer that question to a few of us people out here who are working twice as hard as we were working for before, for half the money, having less time with our families, having to go to employees. And I think a point that has been missed here somewhere along the line is that these apprentices, that apprentice, my heart went out to him yesterday.
Tig, yeah.
Yeah, 16 or 17 years of age is when they start the apprentices. They're young kids coming into family businesses for the most part, or small businesses. And we go to we know their mums and dads, we know their brothers and sisters, we go to their weddings, the funerals. We're all together part of families. And when you have to go to these people and tell them, after working for you for 6 or 7 years inside an office, and I'll never forget that I had to do it on 3 different occasions with 3 bunches, because gradually it got worse. There was tears running down my face, but looking at those guys' faces, look, what were they going to do? Some of them haven't got their qualifications to move abroad. They could go to Australia or Canada if they've had the qualifications.
This was Tig's story yesterday.
Yeah.
I think he's about a year off his qualification. He was let go because the company went under, unfortunately. And he's just trying to get the year to finish so he can be qualified. And he's offering himself for nothing to some electric, and they don't have to work, but they say we can't take you on even if you are willing to work for nothing, because we will be breaking the law and the law will come after us.
We'll end up inside a labour court surrounded by union officials who have absolutely no idea of what goes on in business in small business today. They have no idea, and make up figures. I've heard figures of €70,000 being hit on guys who can't pay their own wages.
But who polices this?
Well, there's a private limited company that was set up by the unions called the E-Pace, and they were set up to make sure that companies were compliant with pensions.
That's fair enough.
With the construction pensions. Without a doubt, it's fair enough. But it shouldn't be. They have no statutory powers. They ask for information about your employees, ranging from their names, addresses, PRSI numbers, their wages, their P60s. This information is protected under data protection for a start. You can't give out this information to a private limited company that are there to make money. They're not there to do anything else but make money. That's what a limited company is all about. They've bullied the industry for the last 4 or 5 years. And it wasn't until the likes of Dennis Judge, I know he was on your show a few times, who stood up to these people, that it's now starting, there's a realisation that this is all wrong. Like, I know your last caller was on about NERA, but at least NERA have got statutory and regulatory powers that at least you know, if you're handing over information to these people, that data will be protected under the laws of the land. But The main, I think the serious thing that needs to be done here, and I'm saying this over the air, and I'm not doing myself any favours here. I am begging the unions out there to sit down and listen to what's been going on the show for the last 3 or 4 days. Listen to the people from both sides. And
well, it's not. You see, it began. In fairness, it began with the bankers who were flipping overdrafts into loans and crippling small business. Then we had the whole political inactivity. That's the second tranche people got on about. Then people raised this whole issue about restrictive practices and the lunatics taking over the asylum argument. And then we got into NERA, and then we got into the trade unions as well and restrictive practices.
And I could give you another 3 subjects for another 3 days if you wanted it. Like, it's ridiculous what's going on. The regulation everybody needs regulation, of course, but there's some stupid things in our in the electrical contractor registered employment agreement. Like, we have to pay if we're working 11 miles away from our office, we have to pay them an extra 160 odd euros a week not from their home now, from their office. So their home could be next to the job. They could walk there, but they get an extra 160 odd euros a week just for that. Now, these are simple things that any other business in the world.
And have other small contractors like yourself gone out of business?
Hundreds of them, Joe. Hundreds of them. Friends of mine, the same age. That's what worries me most, because when you see your own peers, the same age, same mortgages, same kids, same amount of kids, start at the same time, same amount of employees, falling by the wayside, and when you talk to them, it scares the living daylights out of you. I don't know anything else, and like, give us a break. We're not asking for anybody out there to help us out from a money point of view, like the bankers have been bailed out. We're looking for a chance to survive. Give us a break. Let us try and get through this. Employees are the backbone of any business. Nobody wants to see an employee out there being hard done by or being paid less than what he's worth. But at the moment, what you're worth is what the economy will pay. That's what a free market is about. The market defines what wages should be. In other words, what money is out there defines what you can charge. And at the moment, we can't make that proper changes to our businesses to actually to make them viable, because we have to pay over the odds. I'll give you an example. A woman rang me out. A woman, a 60-odd-year-old woman, a pensioner anyway, rang me 3 weeks ago to come out to her house, and I couldn't charge her. No, and I'm not making any money. 60 euros is what I would need to get to take myself off a job, go out to her. No, it was an MCB that was gone. One of the trip switches in our fuse board. It was a 2-minute job. Okay. But it took me an hour and a half to get there and back to the job. Now, that was a pensioner. To charge her 60 euro is 1/3 or similar to 1/3 of her pension. How could you do that? How could you do that to someone? You can't. But at the same time, you can't leave them there either. But let me negotiate with people what I can charge. I only got told recently, because I'm not paying myself the union rate. No, I work for myself. I've been told recently that I could end up in the labour court for not paying myself the rate. like this is when you say lunatics and asylums, like there's a prime example of it straight away.
The effect it's had on other contractors that you know.
Well, I don't want to mention any. I won't mention any names or anything. But a very good friend of mine who we gave each other work, not in the same business. Last week, 2 kids, big mortgage, 3 vans. Partner disappeared and him, didn't want to know. And I had a cup of coffee with him, and he was tearing his hair out. He really didn't know where to turn, and no money from anywhere. Same position as me. He'd been paying millions into this economy, and we find out now that it was disappeared and government checked, and it disappeared and all sorts. Like, what were we doing? And no help for us. A guy who comes, and I don't see anything wrong with this, but a guy can come straight from school and straight in and get dole. And we the people who've been paying the taxes for the last umpteen years, we get nothing. We get no help. We get told, no, you should have looked after yourself. I have looked after myself, but in the last 3 years, everything that I put away for the future is now gone. my pension, which I bought a house, which I may add, the only reason I bought it is because the developer couldn't pay me, and I had to take he took some of it off the price of the house in the first place. And that house now is mortgaged beyond what she's worth to keep my business afloat. I haven't paid myself, or my brother haven't paid each other. This is hard to believe now, but in 11 months we haven't taken taxable pay out of our business. We've been taking the money that we've put in over the last year and a half back out as wages to save the company from a taxation and PRSA point of view. So we've literally worked for nothing for the last year. And I will continue to do so because I've no other choice. I've got a young child. I've got a wife who is now working 70 hours a week between a bar and a restaurant and doing a couple of hours for us so that we can keep on top of things because we are out all of the time now. We can't. It's very hard for us to do book work, and my wife used to look after all that. She does that for nothing. Like, we're only looking for some fairness, that's all. For the unions to realise that their stance is impossible. It's impossible for everybody. If we're going to go forward, they have to.
Okay, and your point is, under the registered employment agreements, which are enforceable by the law, as we know, you have to pay €21 an hour plus pension plus various other things as well. Somebody has a mobile phone, and if they would turn it off, they could. Is Greg there? Greg, sorry, 51551.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Back to the other side.